Often, when working with a complicated document, you have to keep track of different subjects or content threads. To illustrate this, let's look at the RiverFloe user guide and reference. The subject of if blocks, for example, is repeatedly mentioned throughout the document in both the user guide section and the reference section. And there are passages in the document which are related to if blocks, even though the term itself is not mentioned at all. So, how do you keep track of all these locations? RiverFloe SourcePoints do a good job of this. When you click on a source point, it immediately takes you to the source point location. When you click on it again, it takes you to the previous selection and sets that as the new location. Click again and you are back to where you were before. At first sight, this may look like an endless cycle going back and forth between this pair, but of course it is not. Just go anywhere in the document, then click twice, and you have a new source point and a new pair that you can cycle between. But the real power in this lies in the source point history. Every time you set a source point location, it is recorded in the source point history, and you can right click to cycle backwards or forwards through the history to follow the thread. You can do the same for each one of the 9 source points. For example, source point 2. Each source point represents a subject with a history trail. To keep track of different subjects, you can select content in your document and control-click on the source point to define it as metadata for the source point. You can jump to this metadata at any time, again by control-click. You can change the metadata as you please, merely by selecting text anywhere in the document, then control-click on the source point twice. For this example, we have used a RiverFloe comment table to store the metadata, because the comment table will not appear in the target document. But really, we can insert the metadata for each source point anywhere in the source document that we choose. You can control-click on the GUI hotspot to view a summary of the metadata for all the source points. That concludes our short tour of RiverFloe SourcePoints. RiverFloe SourcePoints are one of those things that are easier experienced than explained. I invite you to open any RiverFloe source document and try it out.